Coming to you from Crow's Nest Studios. This is a brother that's going to give you an appetizer, an entree, and a dessert. And we're going to give you food for thought in these topic presentations in that format that we like to serve up to you from a DMV perspective with the focus on the D, because I am a DC brother. We're going to make sense of today's topics and try to give you what you need on something that we like to call Order Up. What's good? What's good? What's good? DMV. What's good worldwide? This is your boy Ray U Beats coming to you with another episode of Order Up, DMV's Order Up. So I'm going to take another approach from an audio and a video perspective, and I'm going to eat a little something because it's been that type of day where I have been pushing all day long. For those of you that are picking up audio, I got my tortilla chips from Chipotle, as the kids call it. I got my bento box that I didn't eat for lunch on my field trip that I went to in Baltimore, in Baltimore. We took our students, because I do pre-K as an educator. Actually, I work as a long-time educator I'm a floater, so I do pre-K through 5th grade. This year at a dedicated school, they wrangled me in, and it's all good. It's a good fit for my schedule and my entrepreneurial activities. But I could not get into my bento box that I have here of good beef and orange chicken and rice and Beijing beef. Yum, yum, yum with the stir-fried rice. So I'm going to be putting a hurt on that while I talk to you on topics. And being from DC, the DMV, I'm going to wash it down with a fruit punch red Rock Creek soda. Doing it in the park, doing it after dark. Oh yeah, Rock Creek Park. You got to know by now. That's DC deliciousness. So let's get started on our appetizer. So what I'm enjoying is that this week started the first in the series. We're about 100 days out, I believe, from the, oh my God, this beef that I cook is so good. We're about 100 days out, and I'm going to do a recipe book this year. I promise you, by the end of the year, my recipe book will be out. Culmination of stuff that people have sent to me and recipes that I've done over the years. I still need to get with you, Walt, on them seasonings. We missed each other this week. But in OTAs this year, last year, we had 100% turnout. This year, we're missing 2 key players for various reasons. But I want to highlight what I've seen so far in the last 2 days of OTAs that's really stuck out to me. First of all, for Jayden Daniels and his offseason progress. He's noticeably bulked up, focusing on both physical conditioning and mental preparation and accuracy and power behind his throws. That's scary because even at the frame size he was last year, he was killing it, as we know, Rookie of the Year. But one of the noticeable things yesterday was his size. I actually watched the interview on the official Commanders site on Next Man Up, and he was talking with the podcaster extraordinaire and host of that show that his focus was getting bigger because of the gruels of a 17-week season and beyond. So in his rookie year, he played 17 regular season games and 3 playoff games. So that was a 20-game season. So he went well into January playing football on a rookie campaign, which was a long season. So him and his team figured out what he needed to do to stay healthy and to progress in his progress into his sophomore season as the quarterback of the Washington Commanders. Offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury, Double K, praised Daniels' dedication to growing command of the offense, which means in the offseason he only got better at it. Now, Reggie and I talked in nauseum last season about a lot of the things technically Jay was doing last season. This Rock Creek is calling me. That Jay was doing, and he's only made it better, and he looks better, and he looks like he's taking the next step to be that premier top tier, top 5 quarterback in the NFL. That's just what I saw in the film segments that they showed that were unedited, unscripted. The second thing I want to talk about in the OTAs that really made me go chicka wow 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 chicka wow wow was actually seeing our new additions out there putting in work, veterans and rookies and everybody. And I'm gonna tell you, all of the receivers that we picked up, that's going to be a hard roster to make for everybody. It's going to be a hard roster to make. Because Deebo looked good. And the kid from Dallas that we picked up looks good. Looks good. And everybody looks good. And all of our existing players look good. There were 2 noticeable absences from the OTAs, which was Scary Terry, who's in a contract year. He's in the 3rd year of his extension, worth about $70 million. And I'm in the final year of his extension, which is about $70 million. I don't think that's necessarily why he held out, but they ain't got nothing to talk about, so they mentioned those 2 things together. I think the fact that the young man just got married in the offseason and is trying to have a balance in his 7th or 8th season as a commander and deserves a little time off. So, and OTAs aren't mandatory, but they kind of set a precedent last year of having 100% show up for those 3 days. The first OTAs, at least the first 3 days. But I think all OTAs last year we had 100% involvement from all the players that were on the roster and trying to make the roster. So that being said, it's going to be, I'm going to tell you, Deebo Samuels is a man. And his explosiveness on his first step, when I saw them running the route tree exercises just on TV, he looked fast. It was good to see Noah out there practicing and healthy and running as a receiver. It was good to see McCaffrey. It was good to see everybody that's out there. One of the things that I did yesterday while cooling out because it was a soggy, rainy day. And when I got off work, I took care of some home chores around the house and then laid across the couch. And I'm flipping through YouTube. Excuse me, I'm a pig. Watching the information about the Commanders, and I came across the week 1 simulation Madden video game for the Washington Commanders versus the New York Giants. And so I said I'll bite, and I watched it, and I fast forwarded through some. I watched it for about 15 minutes straight because it was just so entertaining. And I started acting like a fan, so that let me know that I'm really ready for football because I was so into the game as it was video game as it was being simulated. And I think New York went up on us 14-3. And I'm cussing at the screen. That wouldn't have happened, you know. So that's bull, you know. But it made me excited about seeing it live. Now, I'm working on going to the Green Bay game. So that's my goal, to make the Green Bay game as my away game for this season. Because they're having it. I've lived in the Midwest, and they're having it early enough in the season where the weather shouldn't be questionable. So I'm excited about Green Bay. Shout out to Julian, who's making that possible on the Chi-Town side with his hookups. And I got to reach out to you, Julian, to further get that squared away. I'm excited because in 4 weeks, I'm going to be in Chicago. I'm going to go up there and hopefully be a spectator on the street race with NASCAR. But I'm going to be up there during that time period. If I can't get tickets, then I'm still going to enjoy the city, visit good friends, dear friends that I've made over the years and when I lived there. So we play, I think in October, we play the Bears here. I might go to that game at the stadium, but I'm definitely going to that Green Bay game. You know, especially if Julian come through with the hookup, because right now tickets are very expensive. Already they were sold out once it was announced the actual date how early in the season. So we travel DMV. That's what I'm feeling. So I just need to know where Vibe gonna be playing up in Green Bay or in Chicago. So Junie, hit me up, or I'm gonna hit you up and find out if y'all traveling to the Chi and Green Bay. They're about 90 minutes apart. So I'm excited about that. Gonna take a bite of this Beijing beef now. But that's kind of where we are on the Commanders and our appetizer. So we had some deliciously smoked beef that it actually is ribeye steaks. I made a drunken ribeye. And my drunken ribeye recipe is insane. I put it on the Traeger for about 40, 50 minutes, get it up to 120, smoking it. And my marinade, this drunken ribeye was brought to me by Proper Number 12 and molasses and soy sauce. That's some of the base marinade that I use for the steak. And then I hard seared it on the griddle for about a minute on each side. When I tell you this meat is a treat, ooh Lord. So, that's for the radio folk, the finger licking, and you see it on the screen. That's where we are with what I'm doing with this food and why I need to eat it, and I'm charming y'all on this podcast, which I'm having fun with. So that's the appetizer. The entree, I want to get a little serious, but I'm going to take a bite out of these tortilla chips again because they're delicious. And politically, there's always a lot going on in the Trump administration, good, bad, and ugly. But more bad and ugly And the one good thing that has come out of the last week or so has been the what happened last night. I came home and breaking news on, I guess I was watching. I went out to get some of the food to go on my class trip with because I wanted to add it to what I'd already cooked. And it was right during when the 9 o'clock going into the 10 o'clock hour, because I've been watching all that video footage on the Commanders, so I let time get away from me. Come up, and Lawrence O'Donnell was on MSNBC, and he was this dude has a disdain for Donald Trump. Okay. And he hates Donald Trump with a passion, and I don't take it lightly with what when I say hate. This man does not like Trump, and he really, any opportunity he gets to call him a buffoon, an idiot, weak, sissy, whatever he calls it, he pushes the boundaries. And it was really funny to listen to that breaking news where it came out that the international so if you're not in tune, if you've been disconnected because it's summertime, you're starting your summer, you're starting your vacation, what happened last night, there was a court ruling that came out late yesterday evening out of the U.S. Court of International Trade, which is based out of New York, which is a federal entity. And it ruled that President Trump's sweeping tariffs included in the Liberation Day tariffs imposed under the International Emerging Economic Powers Act, IEEPA, were unlawful. Now, there were 3 judges that came to a unanimous decision on this. 2 Republicans, one was appointed by Donald Trump. The second was a Ronald Reagan holdover, because judges have federal judges have lifetime positions on the bench, and a Democratic judge. They all unanimously came to this agreement that the IEEP permits emergency powers only in the response of an unusual, extraordinary threat. They couldn't prove that. Therefore, it was, of course, kibosh. So they call him the taco president. That he will, what they say, Trump always chickens out when it comes to work or doing any of his policies or jobs. He doesn't legislate. He tries to bully, and he tries to push unlawful agendas, trying to be an autocrat. Now, what people need to understand, and what hasn't been promoted properly, or people don't want to acknowledge because of the echo chambers, is that the reason why the tariffs were so toxic and such a third rail politically is because they are a tax on the American people. Now, because the businesses aren't going to pay that, they're going to push it over to us. And that was the kill. That was what was single-handedly him and his policy approaches changing the global economy in idiot fashion. Now, the economic impact based on analysis from Penn Wharton budget model was that these tariffs would reduce long-term a long run GDP by about 6% and wages by 5% to a middle income household facing a $22,000 lifetime loss. My best friend told me he's lost $30,000 in his portfolio already based off of this stuff. The good thing is it's rebounded. Will it rebound to the degree that he gains it back or we gain ours back? Hard to say. Public opinion, based on The Guardian, in a Marist poll indicates that nearly half of Americans give the president a failing grade for his first 100 days in office, with significant disapproval of handling the economy and tariffs. There's various numbers on so many things that he's done with his sweeping executive orders and what he's doing to facilitate and give empty solutions that are more political ploys than actual things that hold muster with these policies. Yeah, he's exporting people. He's kicking people out the country, but he's doing it illegally. Joe Biden did more, and I was watching Ari Milborn. He decreased the deportation, and they're talking about open borders and all this other crap. Well, the borders are more open and unsecure now than they were under the Joe Biden administration, in my opinion, because you fired all these people. And then you're trying to send the National Guard, who are ill-equipped, to the borders to protect the borders. When you had soft diplomacy, and then you fired all the people that were doing soft diplomacy with these countries, in X amount of million of federal workers that you let go through this Doge thing in the first 100 days. So the borders are just as open, if not more open than they were. The country is definitely not as safe as it was from national disasters and natural disasters and cyber threats. I mean, China and all of the bad actors, you name it, China, India, Iraq, Pakistan, South Korea, Russia, all the big five are in our borders from a cybersecurity standpoint because the policy. And then you have the bad optics of this corporate figure running through the emollients clause like a track star breaking the plane, like Carl Lewis back in the day, just running through the finish line, taking a jet and taking all these bribes with the cryptocurrency and pay to play stuff out in the open, not even trying to hide it. That's making personal gain for him and his family, which is the exact aspect of the emollients clause that can get people impeached. No other president has attempted to do this publicly in modern history, and brazenly like he has. And then you have the incompetent people that he has put in the administration that don't even know where habeas corpus is in the First Amendment, which is right to due process, and don't even know the definition, but they're the head of the Department of Homeland Security, deporting people. And when asked that under oath, they couldn't explain it or answer it where it was. But they're the head of agencies. Whew. That's a lot to take in. I need a drink of Rock Creek Red. Now, not only that, but now we're coming up on hurricane season. And the natural disasters that have already plagued our country that he is not funding completely. There's certain provisions, and I can speak to this because I worked for disaster services for the American Red Cross for 6 years. There's certain federal funds that are given to areas when the governor petitions the federal government for it to be considered a national disaster and natural disaster for repair. Now, I'm gonna roll back to a Republican predecessor when I actually was down in the area of impact for Hurricane Katrina, and I was in Biloxi, Mississippi. So let's say you're driving from DC to Annapolis, okay, which is about a 26-mile stretch on the Gulf of Mexico. Everything for a half mile from the shore inland was gone. I'm going to say that again. Gone. But this was a 70-mile, 3-state swath that this happened. I'm just talking about me driving into Biloxi, Mississippi. George Bush fumbled through it with his DHS FEMA chair Brown, and gave him a cowboy backslap. Job well done, when nothing had been done yet. But eventually they got it done because the provisions were in there for the federal government to give funds to that disaster area across all those states that were affected by Katrina. In just that one instance, to have funds infrastructurally to rebuild better than before. This fast forward 2025, which is 21 years later, and the 47th president won't fund any of the natural disasters that have happened currently in his administration. North Carolina, the mudslides, all that stuff. They were not given funds to recover and build back better, which is what we do in America. And then from a political standpoint, they held out funds altogether to California, which was retribution. That's part of his retribution campaign. Now, California subsidizes Louisiana, food-wise, Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. I'm going to say that again. California, food-wise, pays and subsidizes, food-wise, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, and Georgia. The 4 poorest states in the union. Okay? Because they don't have what California has and other states in the union have. But the state that gives the most to these red states is California. Look it up. See if I'm lying. He's now throwing a wrench in helping the state that really helps the other states in the union, because we are the United States of America and we're supposed to help each other in a bipartisan fashion. He's kiboshing all that because he's not helping them to build back what was damaged or build back better. This is insane, which leads to, the public opinion of how he's doing poorly. Now, the legal and economic ramifications of the court decision on Trump's policies, it's just a legal decision that's halted it. But they're going to appeal it, and their goal is to get it to the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court has been doing the bid and the will of Trump. Sometimes they rule against him, but on critical things, they have ruled in favor of this guy. Like I said, the potential future and direction of the trade policy in light of these developments, he's chickening out. And he's going to try to find an exit ramp, or he's going to try to play the blame game. But guess what? There was never enough money that was going to come from tariffs, because no country negotiated with this man. That's one of the kills. There was no precedent set where anybody negotiated with them. Everybody gave him the middle finger. It said, we rather negotiate with other countries than you, including China. And China's eating our lunch because they're negotiating with everybody, and they're a superpower. They're number 3 in the world. We're still number 1. And with the sliding GDP and a sliding, our credit score got downgraded because of this, and the uncertainty in this administration because it's flippant. And you can see people pivoting from us. So, and that's been talked about in nauseum on all the talking head shows, but I wanted to make that statement and show you the correlation of how this thing is going in the first 100 days because it's buffoonery. It's a child sitting in a man's seat with childlike emotions and childlike behavior. I liken it to, as a teacher, when a kid gets in trouble and they're bullying somebody and the kid fights back. I actually had this happen. I had student X who was behaving terribly in the lunchroom, running all around the lunchroom, picking on kids, not sitting in his seat, not doing what he's supposed to. And as I come up on him, and other teachers are there and not tolerating it and stuff like that. But when I roll up on them and I liken the other teachers to the Congress, the do nothing Congress on both sides, the complicity of the Democrats to play the waiting game and the bending of the knee to a king-like figure of the Republicans, while gaining financially on everything this fool does. So I step up, grab the kid that's acting badly, sit him down, talk to him. In this metaphor, I'm the judicial system. Because the judicial branch of the government is the only adults in the room consistently that are allowing the Constitution to be upheld. Everybody else is allowing it to be in crisis, in my honest opinion. And that's shown by this ruling and multiple rulings that have been done. Now, the little boy continues to act badly and goes over and smacks a kid after mouthing off at him. Kid smacks him back and smacks the hell out of him. Guess what the bully kid does? Starts crying. I jump in between him and grab him sternly. And it then becomes, he slapped me. He did this to me. It's his fault. It's Joe Biden. It's Barack Obama. I didn't inherit this. This is not my economy. This is not my Hunter Biden bedroom. They eat animals, whatever. He's crying foul when he, in his behavior and his approach to everything, was that of an impetulant child, not doing what they were supposed to, not listening, and getting in trouble. We are talking about a 34-point convicted felon that was elected to office too. So I'm of the presence of mind, just like I am channeling Lawrence O'Donnell, because I'm 29% Irish, that I found out when I did my 23andMe back in the day. And I have a disdain for this man's approach to ruining our nation. As a patriot, as a former veteran, as somebody who goes out and has worked hard for every dollar he's earned. Nothing was given to me. I didn't get a $400 million plane. I didn't even get my rights as a veteran yet that I'm fighting for, that I hope are still there with his failed policies and how they're ripping apart everything. So, with that being said, I want to ease into a lighter topic, because there's always going to be more to come on this foolishness because we're only 100, no more than 120 days in. We got 3.5 years. 3.5 years to go. Whew. And in that position, Cat.
The fuck I'm supposed to do if both sides is the dumb side?
I still feel like that. So I look at going into this. We've had the unofficial weekend of summer come and go, and it was a beautiful weekend. And with everything, what I want to do is give you some food for thoughts on whether you're an empty nester, semi-empty nester, a young couple starting out, because like my son and his wife are newlyweds, or a family that's got a rack of kids, like some of the people I know. I wanted to talk about maximizing your summer budget, okay? I advise people who want to keep the romance going and are empty nesters, you don't have to have extravagant trips. Look at short weekend getaways or joining travel groups to be a great way to ease back into travel. I'm not a big fan of travel groups. My wife's family like to travel together. I don't. I'll meet you there. And then if we're going to do a couple of things together, we're going to do a couple of things together. But I'm not heavy into hanging out with my brother-in-laws and sister-in-laws for 7, 10, stuff they renting a house and stuff like that. Nah, I'm not into that. I'm too old for that, personally. I want to be with my significant other. I don't want to be around no kids, even our own, because my mentality is not theirs, and my moves aren't their moves. And that's just where I am. Does that mean I dislike them? No. All I'm saying is, if I'm spending my hard-earned money to go do something, at my age, I don't want it to be a democracy. In this standpoint, I want it to be something that's agreed on with me and my partner, and we go do it, and we enjoy each other's time. Because the reality is, I ain't got many more days in front of me that I do. I have more days behind me than I do in front of me. So in my golden years, I don't want to be doing the group thing. But as empty nesters, I do say do short trips. If that floats your boat, go do it. Knock yourself out. Now, like I said, I'm going to Chicago to spend some time with my friends because that's a dedicated trip where I'm going to visit people that I haven't seen in 10, 15 years. And go have dinner, drink wine, do some events, especially post-pandemic, for some of these people that have pre-existing conditions that are, 10, 12 years my senior that I'm very close with. I want to go see them. So stuff like that, I'll go do. Spend a couple of days, then I'll shoot back to the casa. But this extended thing, going on cruises together, yada, 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 this, that, and the third, not so much. Not for me. But that's just who I am. Family vacation ideas. You can explore. Now, here's the killer. Because of the government shutdown, you have to really do your homework when you go to national parks and consider staycations with activities such as backyard campings, if you can, and local museum visits. Now, for the DMV, you could literally spend the entire summer and not hit every museum in Washington, D.C. I know because I've done it as a kid. Living 8 blocks from the mall growing up and your father being a teacher, when we didn't go south to North Carolina for the summer to grandma's house and stay there, that was what we did. We had destinations down on the mall, the Smithsonian's, museums, the archives, GPO, government printing office. Just go everywhere. Go to all the museums in there. Now they have so many new ones that have been added. that I haven't even been to yet. I haven't been to the Bible Museum. I haven't been to the News Museum. And I studied journalism early on. Hence, coming into podcasting and how smooth of a transition I could do this with. And those type of activities, especially in the DMV, I mentioned in the last broadcast, go to the Arboretum. A day trip to the Arboretum is insane. Okay. And I will post on our site some links that deal with that. But getting to the conclusion, like I said, work on your strategies for planning cost-effective vacations tailored for different family dynamics. Focus on creative ideas to enjoy the summer season without overspending. And use resources and tools to assist in vacation planning and budgeting. So in closing, all right, the Commanders OTAs development looks good. They look to be on track to be doing the same thing that they did last year. And if we could get a repeat in season 2 and push it a little bit further, that would be cool as hell. I want you all to really do your due diligence and read the court findings, because it's public record, on the challenges and the controversy surrounding President Trump's trade policy in his early tenure, okay? We know what the courts did, but you really got to do the due diligence for yourself and look into it, all right? I, once again, encourage people to, with everything going on, if you're feeling a little skeptical about spending money, explore the budget-friendly summer activities and make the most of the season. I like to say, stay tuned to our next episode where we'll delve into more topics shaping our community and beyond here on Order Up.